have a bite of our GM tomatoes and your skin will become smoother.
I wonder why we eat GM food. Is it a type of scientific food?
Have a sip of our GM soup and you'll have all the daily vitamins needed.
What is GM food?
I think it's dangerous to our health. Let's go to a different restaurant.
Come in and try our GM food in the first GM restaurant ever in town.
These tomatoes look really juicy. Are they a type of GM food?
The bananas here look really fresh too.
All our GM food is healthy and tasty. Why don't you come in and taste them yourselves?
All right, let's have a try.
Who's going to be the next to come in and taste our delicious GM food?
I'm really tired and hungry. Can we go for something to eat?
How about that restaurant over there? What is that man talking about?
I don't know. Maybe there's a special promotion there.
Let's go have a look.
Okay.
Come on, guys. Have you ever tried our GM food? Taste it yourselves and see how different it is.
What is GM food? Is it healthy to eat?
I can assure you that all food from my restaurant is safe and healthy.
I'm really hungry. Should we try it?
All right.
After you.
Wow, this looks really cool.
We're like in the future.
Welcome to the first GM restaurant in town. Now, may I introduce you to some of our finest GM food?
Yeah, sure.
This way, please. Right this way, please. And here we are.
What's GM food then?
It's food that has been genetically modified.
What? Genetically modified? What do you mean? I don't understand.
Let me explain it to you. Here we are. All living things, like human beings, animals, and plants, have genes in their cells. Our lives are all built and maintained by these genes. By changing the genes, we can change the characteristics of an organism. When scientists discover that a particular gene in a plant helps that plant grow better, bigger, and faster, that particular gene will be taken out and passed on to another plant. Food that is produced from plants or animals which have had their genes changed is called genetically modified food.
How much do you understand about GM food? What does GM in GM food stand for? A. Generally modified. B. Genetically modified. Or C. Genetically moderate. The answer is B. GM food means food that has been genetically modified. Genetically modified food is food produced from plants or animals with genes that have been A. removed, B. decreased, or C. changed. The answer is C. Genetically modified food is food produced from plants with their genes being changed.
Mr. Parker, does that mean that the genes or the structure of the plant has been changed?
You are absolutely right.
So does GM food taste different?
Why don't you place your order first? You can't realize what it tastes like without trying it yourselves.
Do you have any recommendations?
How about our most famous corn soup and mixed vegetable salad?
All right, let's have 2 corn soups and 2 salads.
Is it safe for us to eat genetically modified food?
Of course, it's absolutely safe. All genetically modified food is tested in the laboratory to meet all safety requirements. GM food harmful to the human body will not be sold to the public. Here comes our most famous vegetable salad. Why don't you try our special GM tomatoes? Try to find out more about genetically modified food. In which year was the first genetically modified tomato produced? A. 1983, B. 1993, or was it C. 2003? The answer is B. The first GM tomato was produced in the United States in 1993.
I don't see how these tomatoes are any different from the ones we've been eating.
Well, I think they look more red and juicy.
They're really sweet.
These tomatoes have been genetically modified so that they contain more vitamins. Moreover, unlike the ordinary tomatoes, they contain a special gene that delays them from getting rotten.
What does that mean?
It means that these tomatoes can stay fresh for a longer period of time. Here we are.
Thank you.
And one for the lady.
Thank you.
How do you like our corn soup?
It's delicious.
And the corns are really very sweet.
Mr. Parker, why was GM food invented?
First of all, it was invented because scientists wanted to improve the quality of food. The food will taste better and have more nutrients. Secondly, there are more and more people every day, but we have, more or less, the same amount of farmland. Thus, genetically modified food is a solution to increase food supply.
I see. So GM food is the solution to the problem of insufficient food supply.
Well, to me, serving my customers the best food is the most important.
Mr. Parker, you taught us so much about genetically modified food.
And the food was great. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Do you believe that genetically modified food will bring so many benefits?
Well, the food really tasted good, and Mr. Parker said it was absolutely safe.
I wonder why it is not so popular.
Let's see whether people would buy or eat genetically modified food.
All right, let's go. Excuse me, do you think you'd ever buy genetically modified food in the near future?
I don't think so. I don't think I'd have the courage to try them.
Why won't you buy it?
I think it may be hazardous to health.
Thank you very much for your time.
Sorry, excuse me, sir. Hi. I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions.
Yeah,
Hi,
sure.
would you be planning on buying or eating any genetically modified food in the near future?
Genetically modified food? No, I don't think so.
May I ask why not?
Well, I'm not so sure that they have been tested sufficiently in the laboratory to prove that they're safe. I haven't seen any proof that they are definitely safe to eat.
I see. All right. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Okay, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Excuse me, do you think you'll ever buy or eat genetically modified food in the near future?
No, I don't think so.
Why won't you buy it?
Well, I'm concerned that the experiments in the laboratory may have gone wrong and the incorrect genes may be inserted into the foods.
Thank you.
Do you really think that GM foods are really that hazardous to your health?
Can we really trust what Mr. Parker said about the benefits that the food will bring?
No more GM food! No more scientific food! Who cares for our health? No more GM food! No more scientific food! Who cares for our health? No more GM food! No more scientific food! Who cares for our health? We are urging the government that all genetically modified food should be banned immediately. No more genetically modified food should be sold to the public. No more GM food.
No more GM food.
What's so bad about GM food? Why are you so against it?
This is an unnatural way to grow food and is harming the environment.
Moreover, the genetically modified food may cause food allergy.
How can it be? The genetically modified fruits you are eating may contain, for example, the genes of nuts, and some people may be sensitive to nuts.
Thus, eating genetically modified fruits may cause you food allergy. Ban all GM food. No more GM food. Who cares for our health? No more GM food. Who cares?
A lot of people have said many different things about GM food.
Who should we believe it?
I think we should summarize what different people have said.
And then we can make our own judgments.
Yes, I think you're correct.
Hello, boys and girls. Can you help Martin and Mabel summarize the reasons why people are for or against genetically modified food? What are the advantages of genetically modified food?
These tomatoes have been genetically modified so that they contain more vitamins. The food will taste better and have more nutrients. It's absolutely safe. All genetically modified food is tested in the laboratory to meet all safety requirements. Genetically modified food is a solution to increase food supply.
What are the disadvantages of genetically modified food?
Well, I'm concerned that the experiments in the laboratory may have gone wrong and the incorrect genes may be inserted into the foods.
Unnatural way to grow food and is harming the environment.
The genetically modified food may cause food allergy.
Today, we have a mission to find out whether we consumers know exactly what type of foods we are eating.
Many different people have said many different things about genetically modified food. Let's see whether food with GM ingredients are actually labeled.
Oh, Martin, are you ready for our mission?
Yes, let's start.
Hey, Martin, what are the results of your search?
I could only find these two products with GM labeling. How about you?
I could only find these products with non-GM labeling.
So with so little labeling, does that mean that not much food is genetically modified?
Or does it mean that genetically modified food is not labeled?
So do we actually know what sort of food we are eating?
And who is protecting our consumer rights?
And our health?
Mr. Parker, don't you think food with GM ingredients should be labeled?
No, I don't think so.
And why would you say that?
Well, labeling on GM food is not necessary. As I said earlier, all GM food is safe.
But should we have the rights to know what types of food we are eating?
Well, you're right. But it's easier said than done. The salad you ate was made up of many kinds of vegetables. Some of them are genetically modified and some are not. so it's quite difficult to trace which ingredients are GM and which are not.
Moreover, labelling will make people think there's something bad about it. That's why I don't think they should all be labelled. But it's still labelled in some countries.
In which countries is GM food labelled?
There are different requirements in different countries. Let's look at the screen here.
In the United States and Canada, only those GM food that is largely different from the normal food needs to be labelled. In countries in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, food containing more than 1% GM materials has to be labelled.
How about countries in Asia?
In Japan, for example, food containing 5% GM materials has to be labelled. And in South Korea, GM soya beans, bean sprouts, or corn that contains more than 3% GM materials are to be labelled.
Why do different countries have different systems in labelling?
But I think all GM food should be labelled.
Guys, it's not so easy to check what different ingredients are made of. Sometimes we simply don't know the source.
Do we really know what food we are eating?
My dearest guest, it is my greatest pleasure to serve you with our most famous dish. I hope you enjoy the vegetable salad with tomatoes produced from the genes of bananas.
Wow! These tomatoes look really cool.
Here's our most famous spinach steak, made from cows with genes of spinach and other types of vegetables.
Wow! Steak with vegetable genes. I can't wait to try it.
And finally, I would like you to try our latest banana split with vegetable genes added to the banana.
This is my favorite dessert. Thank you.
Hope you enjoy our food.
Of course. GM food. Food of the future. Who can resist it?